tonight. My name is Swann Hernandez. I'm the President of Veterans for Peace and the founder and commander of AMBEX Post 66 here in Palm Springs. I'm legally blind. I hope you'll be patient with me. Today is International Day of Peace. This is our 12th annual Peace Day event. We have become a desert tradition. We hold the only Peace Day ceremony in the Inland Empire. Our co-sponsors tonight are Veterans for Peace, John Capitol Chapter 19, Frank Moulton Post, AMBEX Post 56, Occupy Coachella Valley, and Courageous Resistance of the Palm Springs and other desert cities. So we have a tremendous coalition sponsoring our program tonight. We expect our ceremony to last about an hour and a half. You enjoy the speakers and the word presentations. We ask that you not leave early. Tonight we are sad that Bud Johansson and Marianne Margoshian cannot be with us because they're ill, and we pray for their recovery. In 1981, the United Nations General Assembly, by unanimous vote, adopted Resolution 3667, establishing the International Day of Peace, which states in part to devote a specific time to commemorate the efforts of the United Nations and its member states as well as the whole of mankind to promoting the ideals of peace and to giving positive evidence of their commitment to peace and in all viable ways. Peace Day provides an opportunity for individuals, organizations, and nations to create practical acts of peace on a shared day. Peace Day should be devoted to commemorate and strengthen the ideals of peace both within and among all nations and people. Peace Day is also a day of ceasefire, personal and political. Take this opportunity to make peace in your relationships, as well as in the larger conflicts of our time. Imagine what a whole day of ceasefire would mean to mankind. The AMBEX preamble to their Constitution says, in part, to promote the cause of peace and goodwill among the nations. And I think we're doing that tonight. We're achieving that peace tonight. I wanted to say that, and I know it's a little late because it's been over almost a year, but still, I'm still stunned by this. The presidential election last November, was a shock to me, and elections have consequences. I was shocked by how much Russia influenced the outcome of our election. I'm dismayed that we're still using electronic voting machines that can easily be sabotaged to create a certain expected outcome. A few billionaires and multinational corporations spend so much money in our elections, and they have far too much influence in the outcome of our elections. I'm also upset by the process we use to elect our president. The president is the only elected office in the United States where the person who receives the most votes does not win. We must go away with the Electoral College. Many brave men and women have died in our country's wars and conflicts in order to safeguard our democracy. In some ways, I feel like our elections process is dishonoring the men and women that died in uniform in our wars. Today is also the first Peace Day of the Trump era. The president has abolished DACA, so every day I worry that my husband will be arrested and deported. Every day I wonder, because Trump wants to decrease funding for my caregiver, to pay for my caregiver. My VE doctor tells me that the Choice Act has cut the budget of the VE hospitals. I've lived here in the desert since 1998, and every summer it gets hotter and hotter, yet Trump denies climate change. AMBEX Post 66 dedicated America's first LGBT Veterans Memorial, in which we honored the transgender service members that served in the military and died in our wars. Yet Trump wants to kick them out of the military. During the presidential election, and since then, since Trump took office, some hate groups have come out of the closet and are marching our streets and holding rallies. In my opinion, these things are harmful to our country. And it seems that the people are inspired to hate. And they hated either Hillary or they hated minorities or progressives. And we know that hatred is unacceptable, and it's the wrong motivation source for deciding who to vote for. I also want to say that what Joy Silver said the other night, that there's more of us than there are of them, and that I also want to say as a Christian that I pray for President Trump and his family and for their safety and their well-being. Often the first step toward achieving peace and reconciliation is the act of forgiveness. Father Canole said Sunday that when you forgive, you release a prisoner, and the first captive you release is yourself. So at this time, I just want to say, let peace prevail on earth and let it begin with us. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you.